very good. Thank you.
All right. Thank you everyone for joining. We were a little bit worried actually because the event name does not have the word AI in it, and usually people don't show up if it's not about AI. But I think we're gonna speak about AI a little bit.
Maybe.
Yeah, okay, so we'll see how if the people started to leave, we start switching to AI.
Exactly.
So thank you everyone for joining us today. It's the first event that Make is organizing focused on marketing. So I think, or I hope we're gonna be organizing more events. Thank you, Jessica and Teresa, for organizing it. Today, very, very lucky and happy to have Elie here. It's gonna take me a long time to give an introduction about Elie, so I decided not to do that and let him give the introduction. But quickly before we do that, just to let you know what we're gonna be doing today, right? So, gonna have brief intro from a story point of view, focusing on brands. Then Elie is gonna tell us a little bit about his framework that he has been using to grow amazing brands, B2B brands. We're gonna come to you for questions. You can already leave your questions, just scan the QR code, slide there, you can leave your questions already. If you are shy to have the mic, if you're not shy, we're gonna give you the mic to ask questions at the end. I'm sure Elie will be very happy to answer them. And then at the end, we're gonna have time for some snacks. I'm not sure what food do we have today, but I'm looking forward. We'll see. I'm getting hungry, but we're gonna have some food and some drinks and just network. I think networking was one of the big reasons a lot of people showed up today, which is awesome. So I'm also looking forward to network with everyone. So let's kick it off. Elie, like as I said, like you have a impressive career, growing amazing B2B brands. Can you maybe share with us your journey in marketing? How did you get into marketing and the brands that you helped to grow?
Okay. Well, first, thank you, Leo, for the invitation. I had to cross the hallway. I work down there. So it's only 30 seconds to get here. So that was a motivation for me as well. And thank you all for coming. I really appreciate taking the time to listen to us and me. And maybe, I hope at the end you will get something out of it. And if not, there's still drinks and networking. So, all right. So actually, funny enough, I'm not a marketeer by design or by trade, or I'm an engineer. So I studied engineering and specifically computer science. I did my master's in America, Stanford, and I worked there in Silicon Valley as an engineer developer.
Wow. That's new to me.
For 3 years, yeah. Wow. Actually, I was looking at my degree. I don't know why, it was cleaning, moving house cleaning. And I took a course back then, and we're talking like 30 years ago, and the course was called AI.
Wow.
Exactly.
With some acronym for something else, I assume?
No, it was artificial intelligence, not anything else, yeah. So anyhow, here we are. So actually, after a few years in development, I understood that it's not what I want to do in life. Originally, I'm from Lebanon. As you know, Lebanese people have been selling stuff for 4,000 years. So my trait was to go and see the customers and be more with the customers. So I moved from development to sales. And I moved from America to France at the same time. Then again, sales was not really for me. It's not intellectually challenging enough. So at the end, it's a process you follow, you close the deal. I hope there's no sales people here. It is interesting, but so then I said to myself, what is the place where I can combine my technical knowledge plus my customer knowledge? And I found out that actually marketing specifically product marketing and building brands and all that, it's really the place to be. And I started as a product marketeer, and it was a nice journey to see that, okay, I understand the product, I understand the customer need, then I can articulate a story that the customer believes. So I'm a believable marketeer.
Wow.
Some of them are not. I bullshit less in general. But
It's difficult in marketing.
that's how I get to that. And then, no, it's not actually. You have to tell believable lies in marketing. That's what I say. So, and you develop an art in doing it at some point. Seriously. And then I figured out what, and it was mostly in technology companies. So I never did marketing for consumers, only B2B technology. And actually, in one of my jobs, very early in my career, I met someone that really inspired me into building categories and brands. And that person actually wrote a book. His name is Christopher Lockhead. He wrote the book Play Bigger. He was my boss at some point. And then we together, actually, before he wrote the book, we worked at a company called Mercury, where we created probably by design the first category, let's say. And we managed to push the brand Mercury through that category, and then we ended up being bought by HP. And he made a lot of money. I made a little bit. He stopped working. I continued. So that's how actually it came to be, And now I'm at Celonis, enjoying every day. And we are actually in that same journey at Celonis, building the brand and also building the category. We can talk about this a bit more later.
Definitely, I think this is one of the topics I'm really interested to learn more about, like the brand versus the category. But maybe before going there, if we speak about B2B or speak about selling to business, right? So it's all about the money, it's all about the benefit that your business is gonna get. So why should anyone care about building a brand for a business?
Yes, it's a very good question that all marketeers are being asked all the time, especially when you're faced with, do I spend this dollar on building the brand or do I spend it on building demand? Actually, the answer is very clear, is very simple. It's a brand allows you to make more money cheaper. So people will buy from you the same product for more money if they are really in love with your brand. And that applies on the consumer side, but also it applies on the business to business side. So the brand first gives a boost to your demand gen in a way you cannot imagine probably. It allows you to have much more pull as opposed to always pushing for your messages, etc. So it creates for you a place where people, I know this brand, so I'm more interested. Secondly, I think brand is very important for loyalty. It creates easier way to expand your presence at the customer, more deals, quicker deals, larger deals, and more repeatable deals. So it is very connected to creating the money. Now, if you are a public company, you know that 30% of any public company valuation depends on the brand of that company. So if you buy at 10 billion, 3 billion of that is who is this brand actually, more than what are the financials or who are the leaders of that company. So it's a very high impact in generating more revenue cheaper, but also creating more value for your own company.
So to summarize that, as you said, it's easier for you to acquire customers and it's better for you to grow those customers once you acquire them. Like I think another way to look at it is I see brand as a multiplier for whatever acquisition activity you do. So
yeah, you can say it this way. It's very well summarized. I think it's before becoming multiplier, it's a necessity. Nobody will buy from a brand they don't know. So it allows you to get there and it allows you to grow faster. So multiplier, but also it's an initiator.
Yeah, yeah.
So we just conducted actually at Celonis, we took that very seriously when I took over the team, and we hired a company called Interbrand. It's one of the largest agency that does brand work. And we conducted a study to understand our brand with our customers. You know, we go after 5,000 accounts more or less out there. So we don't want to know what the plumbers think about our brand. We want to know the CFOs, the CEOs in big companies, what they think about the brand. So we conducted with Interbrand the study that measured fundamentally two things. One is called the role of the brand, which means how much your brand play a role for your customer to sign with you. And then the other one is brand strengths. Once you are known, how much they value your brand. I will not share with you all the numbers, but on the brand role, and we scored higher than the average technology company, 32% of the deal is influenced by the brand Celonis. When people are looking for process intelligence, because it's Celonis, 30% of them will take it. So that's how much is impactful to your brand. Yeah.
Like it's very good to quantify the value, because I think this is one of the most difficult thing to do, is to quantify the value of your brand. Like make, for example, if maybe a lot of people don't know that, but make previously used to be called Integromat, right? And we rebranded into Make about 3 years ago. And I was speaking with one of our enterprise customers, and I was asking her, hey, how did you hear about Make? How did we acquire you, basically? And she mentioned to me that it was a cold outreach. Someone from our sales team reached out to her, and she normally ignores cold outreach, as all of us do. But because she saw the domain make.com, that must be a huge. If someone bought the domain make.com, they bet a lot of money for that, right? And for that reason, she decided to speak with the person, and she ended up being one of our biggest customers, right? So, and again, as you said at the beginning, it makes it easier for you to sell. Yes. having a well-built brand.
Yeah, most definitely. Yes. So you touched a very important point on branding, actually, which we will probably get to talk about when we talk about how to promote the brand, because that intriguing emotion is really what you want to have in your first contact. Most people think from the first sight of your ad, people need to kind of click and I want. No, what do you want? You want to engage in a question and a conversation. And the fact that this person said, what is Make? It has to be, I need to take the call to know more. Yeah. Triggering that curiosity is really the fundamental in when you do your branding.
Yeah. So let's go back to what you mentioned about building a category, because I think for the last 5 years or so, I think it has been a trend going on. Every new company saying, you know what, in order to succeed, you need to create your own category. But then we start to have thousands of subcategories. So from your point of view, do you think it's worth creating your own category, or should you focus on building your brand? It's a loaded question.
No, it's a good question, actually. Before I joined Celonis, actually, in a period of time, I was doing consultancy, helping startups in technology to see if they need to create their category or not. And not every conversation or workshop ended up having necessarily to create the category. But let me start first by explaining very simply when we say category, what we mean. You all know, I'm sure, but just to remind you a little bit, and I will start with the consumer. When we go to the supermarket, it's all organized by category. It's not organized by a product name or by, otherwise you will not find your canned food or frozen food or your pastry or all that stuff. All those are categories. In the consumer world, it's very normal when you say I'm a brand marketeer, and my niece actually she's actually a category marketeer and the brand within that category. In the business to business is different for some reason. The product took over for a long time. So what we try to do with Christopher and Dave and all, and to say, maybe there's something similar happening there, we don't know. And actually we found out that, yeah, there's a lot of successful companies that are known for their categories, and I'm sure you know a lot of them. Let's take Salesforce, for example, and you can immediately tell me what category Salesforce is in.
CRM.
There you go. SAP, ERP. Let me give you a difficult one. Apple.
Electronic devices.
Okay, that will allow me to answer the question now a little bit better. So, and Uber and all, and Facebook, social networks, and you name it. There are many. Celonis, process intelligence, Make,
Automation.
exactly. So why Apple was good? It will be the same, difficult to say Microsoft. It will be difficult as well. Amazon will be difficult as well, because those companies are multi-categories companies, and the brand took over from the category. They started as being a category. Amazon was online book, and then from there they became multi-category company. Same for Apple, same for Microsoft. However, when you start, it's important to really define what problem you're trying to solve out there and for whom. And that really is the first step in understanding, which category am I playing in. I can give you a simple example from Celonis. What problem are we trying to solve out there? Celonis. That's how we start. I don't know if you know anything about Celonis, but what we do is actually we fix processes that are broken. So every company around a lot of processes, when your process is broken, you cannot get stuff done really efficiently with the right performance. So we solve that problem for most companies. And when you define that, then everything else you do really is about how to solve that problem. And the solution you create becomes, if you want, the name of the category. But Celonis, for example, when I joined, we were trying to create our own category called execution management system. And I realized that it's not the right time for us, in our size, where we are in our journey, it's probably a better idea to see if there is another category that we can hack. We can enter, redefine, and claim leadership as a brand Celonis in that category. And that's how we are pushing process intelligence as being the category, and how we are the leading brand. And we will talk about what does it mean to be leading brand in a moment in that category. So it is never just a category journey or just a brand journey. It's always one and the other. But the most important thing about the category is what is the problem that you want to solve for your customer. And if you don't know that, and the problem could be known by the customer or unknown. It has to be a problem that the customer needs to solve now, not in 10 years. Okay, well, it's in 10 years and you don't have a company. You have a nice idea and a good strategy.
Yeah.
So that's basically the answer. It's both at the same time.
But if I understand that correctly, I think it depends on your size and your position in the market. So at the beginning, it might be more beneficial for you to start being part of a category and lead in that category. And once you are big enough, you can start leading with your brand rather than that category.
Yes, exactly. When you start going outside of your category and you start covering multiple categories, then the brand has to take over, and people will say, okay, I want an Apple iPhone, I want an Apple MacBook. The Apple becomes. So when now looking for Celonis, they don't say I want the process intelligence solution. Celonis is a leading brand, so I will go with Celonis. So you flip it at some point. Right now, we are really always promoting the category, but we're putting a bit more effort to know on Celonis, because we want to at some point flip it in the future.
Yeah.
But for now, there's plenty of space for us in the category to grow.
Yeah. So now let's go to your frameworks. You were speaking with me about this before.
Yeah.
You call it the brand leadership framework, right?
Yeah.
Which you applied for multiple companies before, including Celonis, right? So what is this framework that you use to grow or become a leader in B2B?
What's the magic? You make it sound like it's some magical stuff,
It
you
is.
know. Yeah, it is not that magical actually, but yeah, it is actually a framework that allow you to write a story that people would like to listen to. Because at the end, what's more important when you are promoting a brand is that when you tell your story, people say, "Oh, I want that." You know, this is appealing to me. And don't forget, I am not in B2C. You know, so it's a B2B story. Therefore, you know, take this into account. But we can make the parallel with a consumer. So first, I would say the most important is to make the customer who is listening to you dream a little bit, dream. So for that, you need to start with your vision. What's your vision for your customer? Example, imagine our vision is to have a world without hangovers. It's a nice word.
Everyone is listening now, they're looking for you to provide them with the solutions.
Exactly. So now, once you, for example, our vision at Celonis is a world where processes work. As simple as that. And when they work, a lot of good stuff happens. If you go to our website, you see the first line there. It's when processes work, AI works. When processes works, PepsiCo works. When processes work, banking works. When processes works, products are delivered on time. When processes work, you don't pay for the same product twice, etc. There are many, many applications. So that's our world. Now, great to have a vision, but the next step is what are the obstacles that are standing in the way of that vision? What things, why you cannot have a world without hangover? Because sometimes you are invited to a party and you drink a lot, and then the next day you have a hangover. So there's no way you can, well, actually, that's a great obstacle. And if you find a solution for such an obstacle, you might make a lot of money. So maybe we have one at the end of the framework. So for us, it's what's the obstacle? Why processes don't work? Well, they don't work because there's a lot of stuff. The processes are very complex, and they are running across multiple systems, across multiple departments. It's very hard to know if all those processes working together are really working the way they should. Are they just running, or are they really working? So you don't have that visibility, and you don't know what to do to fix it. That's really the problem, the obstacle standing in the way. Okay, great. So now you define the obstacle, and then you introduce what you do. Because now you capture, okay, you want to have a party, you need to wake up the next day without hangover, and I have a solution for you. And when you start introducing a solution, the most important is to forget about the competition. Because a lot of people start saying we're better than this and we're better than the other guy. I think this is the wrong way to go about it. As I always say, better is negotiable, different is not. When you say better, you go 10%, 5%, so you enter into a price negotiation, and what you want your solution to be is different. The way we do it, no one else can do it the same way and deliver the same results. So example, and you never attack the competition. You say, this brand is bad, or no. Actually, what you do, you describe what's available out there in the market. So, for example, you have paracetamol, you know.
Yeah, I do.
Okay, it takes away the symptoms of the headache, great. But if you take a lot of it, it destroys your liver. So that's the solution gap there. It's not the right solution for you to live in a world without hangover, because you're gonna live in a world where you have liver problem, and it's a worse world. So you don't attack any brand problem, you take the specific problem. For Celonis, to continue with the example, what we say is there are many solutions out there that are tied to one system. And we know that the process runs across multiple systems, sometimes multiple organizations, multiple departments. So those other solutions that gives you only one piece of the process cannot solve, for example, why products are being delivered late to the customers, and the customer is unhappy. because they can tell you, oh, maybe you need to send them faster, have an expedition of the product, and then problem solved. But that's a fragment of the problem. You don't know what is the real root cause. Why is the product that? You need a view across all systems, all departments, and you need a tool powered by AI and process mining that will allow you to understand that actually because the supplier of the raw material to manufacture the product is not delivering their material in time, the product is not being manufactured in time, and therefore that product is not being delivered to the end customer in time. So you go back all the way. And if you don't have a product that delivers that, and by saying that, basically, I'm putting aside all the competition because I know they don't do that, then you don't have a solution. You need a solution that allows you to go all the way upstream and understand what the problem is. So in our hangover world, you need a solution that takes away the effect of the alcohol without destroying your liver. Only that solution is a solution that allows you to really live in a world without hangover. And like this, you position your solution in a very distinct way. I'm not comparing myself to anybody. I'm saying any other solution that touches the liver is a bad solution, regardless of the name of the competition. So that's the third element. And finally, all that is nice, but you need to bring the proofs. You need to bring real customers who are telling that story the same way you're telling the story. So we fixed the product delivery problem, the customer is satisfied, and because we use product from Celonis to do that, I didn't reveal the solution for the hangover because there is no solution really. Otherwise, I would be the rich one having a pharmaceutical company. But I will give you one tip though. You have I don't know if you know Korean pears. You know pears from Korea. Those actually, if you eat those before you have a party, that can take away a lot of the alcohol effect, and you will wake up without hangover or very little hangover the next day. And I know my business in that area.
Can you find it somewhere here in Madrid?
Yes,
Yeah.
you can buy Korean pears that are really. If you can make a molecule out of that in a medicine, you will win the world without hangover war. So a lot of consumers, yeah, maybe. So anyhow, then the proofs is important. So see, I'm now saying I used it, it works. And you believe it. All that story will be completely in the imagination until I told you, well, I ate a Korean pear before I partied, and the next day I woke up and I hardly had any hangover. And for Celonis is the same. We make sure customers, at least some of them, important ones, recognized brands. We make sure analysts, Gartner, Forrester, and the likes, key press people, key influencers, are both early in the idea, and they are telling our story on our behalf. But we need to make sure that our story is distinct, compelling, and creates a lot of value. That's the framework.
Wow. So maybe let me try to summarize this. I don't know if I'll do a good job. So you started with identifying a problem first. You are solving a specific problem, right? And you help your audience or your target audience to see a vision, a whole little hangover. So this is the vision, and then there are obstacles in the way. This is the problem that you solve, and you are the one being able to solve it, and you are solving it differently.
Exactly.
Which I really like that part. Like, you are not better than the competitor. You are different.
Yes. Nobody buys a Ferrari because it's better than Fiat.
Mhm.
They buy a Ferrari because it's different. And it's not the same consumer, by the way. Maybe for some people, Fiat is a different car.
Yeah.
People in the city, they don't want a Ferrari. So depending on who's buying, you want to address their need in a very unique way.
Yeah.
And the Ferrari buyer or Porsche buyer is different from
Yeah.
the other buyer. So
Yeah.
that's very important. Different, not better.
Yeah. Like, I think I'm definitely gonna learn from that. And like, I remember when I first joined Make, and this is, I think, a mistake a lot of founders do because they want to sell their product more. So hey, like, this product is awesome. It's a solution for everything and solution for everyone. and I think we even had that on our homepage. But being for everyone means that you are for no one, as you need to identify who are you for, what is the vision that you are selling, and what is the obstacle that you are solving for them.
Exactly. If you never drink, you don't need my Korean pear. Exactly.
Yeah. So like one thing that we were speaking before, and we have a little bit of a debate, and you were saying that being the best at something should not be your aim, but being the only brand to do that. And I was just trying to understand what you mean by that, because again, if we speak about a brand like Apple, right? So why would not I try to be I am the best phone that you can?
Okay. Yeah, I can give you. I give you another example. I will give you another example today. So imagine you're joining a basketball team. So everybody is 2 meters, and you are 2 meter 1 centimeter. You're the tallest, but does it matter? It doesn't matter. You're the best basically in height, but it's only 1 centimeter difference, and you are the best. What you need to do is you're the only one who can shoot 3 points and miss only 1 out of 10. Whether you are 201 or 200 centimeters doesn't really matter. So that's why the best is not always a good measure, unless you are the best. Like if you run 10 times faster than anybody else, okay, then you are Ocean Bolt, and then you are the best and by far. So just to make it a bit easier on marketeers, because a lot of marketeers think in terms of better, we say different or 10x better. When you start to be 10x better, then you are different.
All right. So I think yeah, that's actually a very motherhood formula. So we are either different or you are 10x better. If you are less than 10x, just stay with
Exactly. A bicycle that runs 10x than internet is a motorcycle.
Yes,
It's different.
so this is different. All right. I actually have a lot of questions, but at the same time, I see here a lot of questions as well. So I think I'm gonna skip the question that I have and just go to Slido here. So okay, so this actually I think I have a similar question to that one. How much is the split between brands and acquisition?
It's a good question, and I'm not going to give a consultant answer here. It really depends on what stage of your development you are. You know, in the beginning, I would say when we started doing our work with Mercury, for example, and we started building the category brand, 70% of the budget were for brand, and we didn't really care. We told the CRO, give us a year to really build the brand, and then we start shifting more money towards the acquisition, and you will see that money will go further. And we got that deal, and I mean, like,
how? How did you manage to convince them to
because
spend
we're
70%?
small enough for salespeople to be more scrappy and go get their deals. And some of the brand work you do at the end gets you a lot of traffic to your website, unsolicited traffic, and that can be transformed much easier into leads. It's so because then the other answer would be define acquisition. You know, when does acquisition start? Does it start when you tell somebody come buy stuff from me, or I'll tell you, let me tell you, I can solve the hangovers of the world? You know, you're not selling anything, but everybody's gonna come and tell you how.
Yeah.
See?
Yeah.
If you say I have this amazing pill that you know, I will take the headache away, etc., people wouldn't really care probably as much as you say, well, listen, if you want to live in a world without hangover, come see me.
Yeah.
So in the beginning, I would say, and you need to have a discussion with your CRO and have a confidence, you know, in confidence, and that in the beginning, when you are starting, you need to invest a lot on the brand, you know, build what your brand stands for, what problem you solve, to what vision you are guiding your customers to. If you don't do that, you're gonna hit it hard on demand gen and spend a lot of money with not a lot of results.
Like, actually,
That's my experience.
I think that takes me to another question, which is, yeah, how do you sell brand marketing strategy internally, specifically to the CRO, more to the CFO as well? How do you sell? How do you convince them this is a good investment? Because at the end of the day, for a CFO, I don't see the money coming out of this, right? So what is your strategy there?
Well, thanks God we didn't start this movement, let's say. There are other companies before us that show us the way, and then we take those as example. Salesforce being a great example. They started by saying no to software, and they did the whole campaign around that. We are the one that allow you not to install software in your data center. Don't worry about upgrades. Don't worry about all that stuff. Give it to us. We will deal with it for you. Basically, that was their message for a long time. Same goes for Apple. Apple didn't say come buy a machine that does this. Say, do you imagine having 1,000 songs on a small piece like that? Yes. Okay. So many examples before, very successful companies have done it the way I'm explaining. And you need to do your homework. Take all those examples to your CFO and CRO and say, that's where big, great companies started. They didn't start by generating hardcore leads.
Right. So I think you can go to the Elie said that they are do that in Celonis.
You can quote me, yes, no problem.
All right, sounds good. All right, yeah, measurement. So how do you measure brand improvement? Could you answer the second part?
Yeah, I did mention actually that we're working with Interbrand. It is not a given. It costs money. So, but I was willing to put a few $100K just to avoid those empty discussions with the CFO and the CRO. And yeah, it's fluffy. What's about brand? Okay, let's measure it in a scientific way. Let's ask the customers what do they think about their brand and how much the brand influenced their decision to buy from us. And that's how we use Interbrand. And Interbrand have universally known metrics for all brands. They do brands like BMW, etc. Juventus is one of the brands they work with. And they work with technology companies like us. And then we define 3 KPIs, basically, external. One is brand awareness. One is brand strengths. And one is the role of the brand in deals. So those 2 brand strengths define how much customers will renew with you and expand. So money. Brand goal is how much you're gonna land deals. And then brand awareness is feeding both of them. Basically, how much people know about you, therefore they envision doing a deal with you. So very much connected to the financial, and Interbrand has a model that shows basically all the way from those 3 KPIs, how then you can compute your brand value, which a huge influence for a company like us who maybe one day we're gonna go IPO. So you know that your brand will contribute few billions to your value for CFO and CEO. This is like music to their ears. And you cannot be from you only. That's why we went with this Interbrand that are really an authority in this area. Now, most people maybe don't have 200K to spend on that. So you need some proxy indicators for your brand strengths or your brand. They are not like great ones, but what before we used to use is how, like you look at the press coverage, how the press is talking about you, positively, negatively. Are they on message? Are they telling your story? That's one indicator. The other one, as I mentioned before, the organic traffic to your website, unsolicited traffic, people coming to your website because, I don't know, you did something well and then it's coming. Social is another one that we use a lot. Social indicators, how many followers, how many shares, engagement. All those are good indicators of brand, actually. What else would be on the brand? It stretch a bit, but also are customers willing to go and be advocate with you?
Yeah.
We have in any given year more than 200 customer speakers at Celonis coming and speak at events here and there. And then we're talking about big brands, Pfizer's, PepsiCo, BMW, Mercedes. And when I prepare for Celosphere, we have CEOs. We had the CEO of Allianz actually being one of our special guests. They come to us and say, if we would like to be a speaker for your event in the keynote, how about that? So that customer advocacy also a very big indicator that your brand strength is high and people want to continue doing business with you.
Yeah.
No amount of paid ads and all that will get you there.
Yeah, no, totally agree. Like, and actually, I was speaking with our CEO yesterday, and we speak about our investments in events. And one kind of event that we do, and I know Soros is doing the same thing as well, is this executive dinner. So we will organize dinner for our prospects and customers as well. And we were discussing how do we measure the impact of that, because at the end of the day, the sales cycle is still long. It can take 1, 2, 3, 4 years, right? And one metric that we came to was the amount of minutes that those prospects are spending speaking about Meg, because that's what they are doing. They are going to that event. The whole event is about Meg. They're speaking about Meg. So it's basically the same as running a TV ad, and you're calculating how many seconds this ad has been watched multiplied by the amount of people who watched it. So I think you can get very creative with the kind of metrics that you can use to measure your brand.
That's a very good one, actually. Yes, absolutely.
Nice.
So, yeah, I mean, and we have one internal indicator, which is brand engagement within the company that we measure as well on a regular basis to see how much the employees are really engaged with the brand. Because at the end, the biggest brand ambassadors are your own people.
Yep.
Then each one of them touch, I don't know, maybe 3 people a week. You make the math, you have 3,000 people, you can be touching 500,000 in a year.
Yeah.
And if they don't engage with the brand properly, they destroy your brand, and those are the people closing the business.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah. I think there are a lot of creative way you can think about that. How do you measure the brand improvement in Celonis? I think we already answered that, right?
yes.
All right, so that helps to create brands okay, so something that helps to create brand are its clients. How would you manage between big clients that brings you brand and smaller that brings faster revenue?
I would speak from a Celonis perspective, let's say. I'm not sure if I'm agreeing with the equation that the small one creates fast revenue. Revenue comes when the problem is big, the revenue is big as well. So it depends on the problem. And some smaller companies have big problems and they're willing to pay a lot of money for it. What comes easier from smaller companies, if they are not big brands, they are more willing to be with you to promote your brand because they're promoting their brand as well. In general, but as long as we don't have we don't have this problem because we have Exxon, one of the largest company in the world, being in our keynote talking about like they are wall to wall with Celonis and they are so happy because the real question here is what will make a customer be an advocate of your brand is that they can see the value the brand creates for them. And I'm not talking bullshit value, real dollar value or real green value. We have them save on the green stuff. So the real value is really what the customers say, okay, yeah, I am proud to say that, we work with Celonis and what we thought was impossible, that's exactly what he said, the guy. That CIO said this is impossible to be done. And in 50 days, they had it done and the value created and they were extremely happy. So create value and the big, small brands, they will all advocate for you if you create value for them.
Yeah, no, actually, I think I can also give examples from Meg. Like we have our yearly event or user event called Waves, and it's in the last 2 years it was in Munich, and we had some customers who flew from the US to attend that event, right? Because they are in love with the product. They are smaller customers. Like they are not in our radar at all. They are very small customers, but they love the brand. They want to come. They want to connect with our employees. They want to connect with our customers and other partners to learn more, and they are advocating for us everywhere they go. And the same thing with our partners. So like I think our partners are our biggest advocates. So I think it's not only about big brand. I would assume that smaller clients will be advocating you more than the big ones, because the big ones, they care about themselves. They focus on their brand more.
That's correct.
But so I would argue that the smaller one actually be more beneficial for your brand.
Yeah, more flexible, more
in a different way.
More agile. Yes, no doubt. But we still have big brands, coming and testifying if they have big value. But yes, you're right. Smaller brands are more agile.
Yeah. Like I think that the big brands can be in as you describing the framework, they are a proof, they are the social proof that okay, like this problem is being solved by other big brands. Like, this is where they play the bigger role. Whereas the smaller one, they are one going out and speaking to other people about you.
Yeah, that's true. And then actually, the way you up, if you talk about how you take the story now to market, and maybe there's a question about that, but it's important that in every industry to nail to really get what we call the big penguins. You know, like I don't know if you watch National Geographic. I like to watch that stuff. And you see, like for half an hour, all the penguins are standing on the ice, and nobody's going in the water, and they stand. And then one penguin jump, and then everybody jump behind the penguin. This is usually the leader, the kahuna penguin they call it. So in every industry, you want to find that customer. Let's say in banking or in energy, or you find one of those two customers that are leading the market, showing the way. And if they do a deal with you, and they start working with you, everybody says, "Why? You know, like how come Exxon is? There's something there that." And there's this fear of missing out, and they will jump behind the big penguin.
Yeah.
So that's a good way actually not to spend a lot of money to brand yourself for everybody, but select in each industry the 2 or 3 customers that will make the difference for you, and make sure those are the advocates, and everybody will follow.
Yeah. No, makes sense. Or it seems like a question for me, how can you monitor the brand make being so broad? Is it one of the makers who asked it that? Yes, it's definitely like from one side it's challenging, but from the other side, what I described before, actually it is a very strong asset that you can use. Like it provides you with credibility. If you are able to own a brand which is very generic assets, you really get the perceived value from the customer, right? So it is already a strong asset that you can use. There is a challenge that comes with SEO. Like I'm very big on SEO. I come from SEO background, but this is where you start looking at more creative way to measure your brand. That's number one. And number two, you need to work harder on promoting the brand. Exactly as Elie said, I think the number one thing is actually your employees. And I can give the example of Meta, which has to be called Facebook anymore. Just decided, okay, like Zuckerberg made the decision, no one is calling this Facebook anymore, and they are our partner, right? So we speak a lot with them, and every single presentation they send is only Meta. You go with them in the on the meeting, naturally you are still saying Facebook. They don't care. Their employees, they will never say the word Facebook. Every single part of their slides, their every presentation, every discussion, they only say the word Meta. And it's gonna take years. It's not gonna change. People will continue to say Facebook for some time. But this is how brand work. It takes time. But you need to be pushing it. If you are not pushing it, it's not gonna work. Do you have any advice for me to
No, I think it's persistency, and consistency is critical. Yeah, you have to go at it. And one of the things that we need to improve at Celonis from the latest study with Interbrand is exactly that point, you know, the consistency, because we changed a little bit and we didn't clean up the history, you know? So we need to clean up, and exactly what the example you gave, every presentation has Meta and nothing else, and X is the same, by the
Yeah.
way, you know? But it's stupid change, I think, you know, Twitter was very good. But anyhow, but now it's X everywhere. So yeah, you need to have persistent and consistent.
Yeah.
And then you get there.
Great. Any tips for carving out your brand when you are the David and on a market of Goliath?
Good question, actually. And so if in David we see a challenger, then it's a different type of marketing you do when you are a challenger than you are a leader. When you are a leader, you cannot name your competition, as I just said. You need to define the market. You create the market, you define what is a typical solution for the market, and then people need to compare the rest for what you define to be the market. When you're a challenger, it's a bit different because you're not defining the market. Then in that case, I think it's one of the rare, when I would say it's okay to pick the leader and attack the leader, because the leader is the market. And you need to be very, very diligent about one thing that the leader doesn't do well, and you do completely differently and delivers the results in a way that the leader cannot do. And you just hone on that problem. David did exactly that. Goliath was big, a lot of muscles, all that shit. He didn't care. He took one swing and then he swung the stone on his head and Goliath dead. So he did it differently. He challenged the leader and it was a different tool. So that's what you need to do as a challenger.
Yeah. So you keep repeating the same thing. So even if when you are like attacking the competition, it's not about you are better than them in this part. You are different. So different is still
exactly.
the same.
Otherwise, David would be dead now.
Yeah. All right. What framework do you use to scale the budget, and what attribution system? I think your attribution on tracking you kind of covered that.
Yeah.
I'm not sure I understand like what framework do you use to scale the budget?
I'm a very good friend with the CFO. That's my framework. That's the best way to scale the budget. Actually, showing the results really allow you to scale your budget. If you don't show results, people will question, why are we spending money on marketing? And it's a fair question. Fair question. And sometimes we can have a discussion. You can have discussion with your CRO, CFO, or your CEO. Let's shut down marketing. Let's not do any marketing and see what happens. Are you willing to do that? Are you willing to do that with your bosses? And is the CEO willing to do that? I don't think so. After you establish that truth, you're going to have a much more constructive discussion with your boss to scale your budget or not. Because people always criticize, but then okay, let's shut it down. Let's take the website out. It's shitty. Let's take everything out. No social, nothing. Let's see what happens. Of course not. So it's a good tactic to threaten with.
Actually, we did that, but before going there, I just wanna emphasize what you said at the beginning, which actually building a relationship, it's not a joke. I think it's a very important thing, like building a relationship within internally. I think it's a very, very important for your success.
Of course.
Yeah.
Absolutely. I mean, I was not joking.
Yeah.
CFO is my friend. And people will work with people they like. So it doesn't matter how competent you are or whatever. You need to be liked with it. Like they like you. They just speak their language. If you talk to a CFO in marketing language, you will never see them again. If you talk to a salesperson in marketing language, say all this fluff. So you need to speak the language of the person you're addressing, and then you can scale your budget, scale your relationship, and get very far.
Yeah, and on shutting down marketing, so we did that at Make actually, but on a smaller scale. So you go for the search advertising, for example, right? And a big part of search advertising is people who are searching for your brand name, right? And other people always say like, why are you bidding in this keyword? Someone is already searching for your brand name, so they're gonna find it organically and they're gonna go to your website without you paying anything. So why do you pay for your own keyword? So we did this experiment. We stopped the brand campaign bidding on our brand's keywords in specific regions, and we did that like 1 week we stop it, 1 week we run it, 1 week we stop it, 1 week to run it, just to make sure that measurement is good. And at the end of the experiment, we found out that in total we lost 15% revenue if we stopped this campaign.
Exactly.
Right. So
Bravo.
there's always a way to
Well done. Exactly. That's a proof point.
Thoughts on B2B marketing and branding having to be more serious or enterprise? It's possible to be fun and quirky brands. I don't know, Celonis maybe is not the best for that, but
Well, we're black and white, so
yeah,
we're very fun. Yeah, we're not the example of fun, really, but at least, and this is not our own assessment. Gartner assess companies every year, and then we are the leader in our own space, process mining platform, and they give 3 strengths for each company, and of course one of our strengths is innovation, execution, and the third strength, imagine from all the possibilities, is our marketing, execution, and strategy. And they like about us, we are different. We don't speak corporate language. We speak normal people language. And we are really standing out by being not like any other brand out there in B2B. We don't have colors, rainbows, and stuff like that. And it's a choice. And we did that choice not to be fun, because it's not, I can accept that it's not a lot of fun, but to not allow the branding to stand in the way of the message. When you have the black and white, you focus on the content and not on the colors and stuff like that. So it's a deliberate decision to be that simple with lines and dots. And a lot of people are copying us right now.
Mhm.
And even in B2C, as you know, our guru in design and branding, Flacos, he likes to compare to other. And the Gucci show that happened in, I don't know, in Milan, I think, not a long time ago, the lightings of it and the way they designed it, you take Gucci, you put Celonis, you think it's us. Wow, that's it. Gucci is fun.
Yeah.
Maybe it's fun, but we can be fun. Of course, you can be fun, but it's not our choice.
Like I think it depends on your target audience and what you are selling, right?
Exactly.
So you can like at Make we are more fun, right? And we are selling for enterprise as well, right?
Yeah.
And but who are we targeting? Our users and our buyer. They are what we call them, at least they are innovators. So they are people who are looking for this innovation. Our product itself is a very visual product, right? So it fits with our target audience, it fits with our messaging, it fits with our product. So I
Yes.
think it depends on that.
Exactly. Our key persona, let's say, we have others, but is the CFO of a Global 2000. I don't know if you know many of them. It's not rock and roll, you know.
Yeah. What is your view on, maybe probably a little bit similar on color in marketing and how it impacts on brand and customer purchasing?
I just answered that.
Okay. Black and white.
No, not necessarily. We can have color as well. I mean, we're gonna launch a brand campaign soon, and there will be color in the brand campaign. But the colors, for us at least, our decision is to make them very little, not to lose focus on the main thing. Keep the main thing, and the main thing is not the colors, is what the story you're trying to tell. So
Yeah.
why not? But not. And personally, I don't like colors, but it's not my personal choice. It's about making sure the story is from, and not the coloring.
Yeah. No, it makes sense. I think you can look at many brands in the same category and they have different colors and all of them successful. So I don't think just selecting the right color will mean if you are successful or not,
Exactly.
right? There are much more behind it.
Exactly. So it's a personal choice.
Yeah. What channels are you using for B2B brand marketing?
Oh, what I'm not using, so everything. I mean, we're using all the channels really. That's anything from digital, physical. We have big moments, physical moments in the year. So we have a tour we do in the first half of the year. Like now we're gonna, used to be called the World Tour, then we call it the Celonis Days. Now we're gonna call it the Process Intelligence Days. So when we go to the cities and we have a lot of activities surrounding that day, and that's the moment of course, lead gen, but also it's a moment to brand Celonis being closer to Munich, to Paris, to London, etc. So we go to the city and we stay in the city for a couple of weeks doing activities to brand ourselves connected to that city. So the program overall called City Collab. And the event is called the Process Intelligence Day during that collab. So that's a big moment of branding, physical. Another big moment for us, branding physical, is our customer conference, our sales field that we do in Munich. A huge show, and also very unique, very black and white, and very different, I would say.
And it's very big. I've been there. It's huge.
Yeah, it's a huge, and it's different, I would say. When you enter, you don't know if you are in a fashion show or in a technology show.
Yeah.
And we always use different, before we use very weird places like old factories, the hangar at the airport, and we build everything from scratch. That time we used the conference center, but we made it look like it's bare bones.
Yeah.
So that's at the physical, and then all the digital channels, of course, so with social, LinkedIn specifically being very important. A lot of PR. PR has a great power, actually. Journalists now, especially now, at some point, everybody was saying that's going away. But with all the fake news and the bullshit on the social media, now people are coming back to really know what the story is by reading the newspaper.
Yeah.
We're very happy about that, and we do a lot of effort there too.
Nice, nice. Right, matrix, I think we covered the matrix already. So the last one, learnings from the brand replacement from Integromat to make. This was killed, not like Facebook.
That's
Yeah,
yours.
that's mine. So like, I don't know if, yeah, Integromat was killed. Actually, I still remember we had that day when we were at the end of Integromat, because Integromat was not only the brand that was replaced, but even the product itself. And we had the day that the moment that was the end of the product, we were not support the product anymore. We had a very big bottom. Our solution architect was, okay, this is the end, we're killing it right now. So I think the learnings, part of it, what you mentioned, which is creating the process of the rebrand, because there is a lot of stuff that you need to clean. There's a lot of slides that you need to update. There's a lot of websites that are mentioning you, your partner. So I think having a clear plan for the rebrand, I think it's a huge effort, right? And just making that switch in one day, it doesn't happen in one day, right? It definitely takes a long time. So having a clear process and having a clear like onboarding for your employees, how should they approach that, right? I think this is one of the biggest learnings. The second one is, don't be afraid to change again, in the sense of, we did do the rebrand, but 1 year later, we did what we call a reset. So not rebrand, still the brand is the same. The cars got updated a little bit. The shapes needed to be changed a little bit. Some of the shapes we need to change. That's right. Your brands need to evolve all the time. So don't be afraid. We did a big rebrand. That's it. This is the end of it. No, I think it's better to keep evolving.
Actually, I can add to that, because we have a yearly process. Every year, we revisit the story around July. We evolve it a little bit. And then that story, first manifestation is at Celosphere in October. So we have, and then every year you will see that small changes, but the brand needs to evolve. And we found that a yearly basis is the right way. Evolution, not revolution. If you revolutionize your brand every year, you don't have a brand. But a little evolution every year is important. Yeah, otherwise it gets stale. It gets old.
Yeah. All right. I have a question about AI, but I have to. It's a rule. Before doing that, is anyone brave enough to just raise their hand and have any final question from the audience? Okay, we have. Go ahead.
Give them the mic, probably. Yeah.
Yes, I will give him mic so you can respond.
Maybe it's for you.
We'll see.
So yeah, this question is about AI. Sorry.
Go ahead.
I'm specialized in doing automation of processes, mainly to content creators, and I've been using Make for 1 year now, and I've seen N8N have dropped the AI agent tool, and I mean I'm like starting to use N8N a little bit because of this, because I found it like very useful, and I don't know if you inside Make have you thought about introducing this tool also?
I can answer that. I don't know if I'm allowed to say that, but
It's
yeah,
not recorded.
Stick the mic away. Stick the mic away. We are working with that, and on many other projects as well from AI point of view. Like, I mean, it's definitely we are living in the AI era right now. So from Make point of view, from our product point of view, we are actively working on that. UC working on that. So the unofficial simple answer is yes.
Thank you. I'm Enrique, business consultant. Just my question, from your experience about and for knowledge, we spoke about brand creating, but what's the must not do? Let's say, what's the killer for brands? Maybe for like emerging company or just an established, what's like if you do this, you're dead, no? Or this is like the wrong. what's your view on that?
All right, I can take this one. Actually, I call this the Me Too syndrome, you know. You wanna kill your brand, start comparing yourself to everybody out there, chase after market share as opposed to create your own market. And if you do that long enough time, everybody will forget about you basically. And Me Too approach is a killer. Don't touch that. It's not about Me Too. It's about how different you are. So you can look at some of the big brands. Nobody will tell you Me Too. You know, Real Madrid never compare themselves to Barcelona, or the other way around. So Me Too is it's a no-go. If you want one, don't do the Me Too. You know, me too. I do this. I do it a little bit better. This you will be wasting money basically trying to promote the Me Too approach. Yeah.
One final question.
I could actually just ask you this in the day-to-day. Hi, everyone. I actually work at Celonis. My question is, to what degree, because Ali, you mentioned something around Ferrari versus Fiat and them being different personas. I'm curious to see to what level would you dissect the messaging and the branding, depending on the persona? So how far or granular would you go?
So yeah, I mean the persona is fundamental. You need to define your main customer profile. Let's say who you're going after, and then don't forget that when you are going with the brand, you have a message, you have the written content, but you have the imagery that goes with it. And by using those two intelligently, let's say, you can adapt without necessarily changing too much of your core message. By adapting your use case, you can address a different persona. And exactly what we are now thinking about in our brand campaign. You know, our message is going to be when processes work, AI works. It works for supply chain, it works for banking, it works for whatever you want. And let the use case be exemplified with the imagery behind it. Are you trying to catch a plane and the plane is late? And why it's late? Because the process didn't work. Or are you trying to have a barbecue and the ketchup didn't arrive by delivery man? So we're trying to illustrate those use cases. And at the end is one message is if the process doesn't work, you're not gonna have a good barbecue. Or you're gonna miss your plane or be very late to your plane. So you can keep your message and vary your use cases according to the message. So but the persona is important because when we do this, we are addressing retail, we are addressing transportation, we're addressing banking. So we define the persona very well, but we vary the use cases. Exactly. But the main message, the main thing about the main thing is it is the main thing. So.
The main thing about the main thing is the main thing.
Yeah, exactly.
All right, this AI. So this is let's close with this very quickly. I have a question which is in two parts. So the first part is, how are you or how would you recommend marketers to be using AI within their everyday life with brand building? How do you use AI, or how would you recommend use AI? So that's the first one. And the second one, which you're doing right now with Celonis, how do you position yourself as an AI, or how your product is supporting AI? Because like right now, every company is, oh, we are an AI product, we're an AI product, right? So how do you approach the positioning?
Okay. The first question, I might turn it back to you at some point. We actually started within the marketing team, led by a person in my team. His name is Joe. An initiative actually to explore all the possibilities of applying AI in our own in content, in design, in creating videos. We even hired a consultant to help us, show us the way a little bit. There's no limit to it in data analysis, and so we are really exploring a lot of the possibilities. And yeah, we let an AI create a video at the end. We still need to touch it. It's not really great because, especially if you want to be different. But there are possibilities of accelerating. I write a lot of content or review. I use a lot of Perplexity AI or ChatGPT, prompt it well, and then to accelerate my creation, but at the end, you need to put a little bit human touch on top if you want to be doing some stuff differently, because ChatGPT is answering everybody the same at the end. So it's important to accelerate, but it's not the alpha and omega of marketing. It's just a tool to make you go faster.
Yeah. Maybe to add from my side, and what I always tell people, they think about AI as ChatGPT or whatever tool, just chatting with it, giving it a prompt and just answering back to you. But if you really wanna put AI into practice, you need actually to put it within your process, right? So I'm selling Make right now, but like this is the reality. How can you integrate AI within your process? And to give one example, we were having our all hands meeting just right before this one, and one of our team was presenting how did they use AI to personalize some of the content and in the email that we are sending, right? So the content there was personalized based on what the user was using Make for, and the experiments showed more than 70% increase in CTR because the content was personal. And this is not going to ChatGPT and asking a question. No, it was an automated process where AI was involved in there. So that's what I always tell people: if you really want to get the real value from AI, it needs to be part of your whole business process.
I adhere to that. Whenever you say the word process, I'm agree.
I was sending it to you.
The second question is how we are positioning with
Yes.
AI.
Yes.
And this is an interesting discussion about we had with the leader of Celonis, leaders of Celonis. Of course, when everybody started to go and say, we AI, and I resisted actually that, and I said we're not gonna go with big on AI for now. And this was like 1 year ago. We need to make sure that when we go out on AI, we're not just a me too, to come back to the me too, we're not a me too AI. We have something to say that is relevant to our vision, where processes work, to our mission to make processes work. And if it's not relevant, people don't believe you. Because you need to be authentic. So we waited, and then when we found the right positioning, and our positioning now is very clear on AI, which is, in a few words, we enable AI to be effective for your enterprise. So and in a simple analogy that I shared with you, so Celonis Process Intelligence is for AI, what maps are for GPS. So you can have GPS is AI basically, it's the reasoning. You can have the best GPS. If they don't have the right map to read from it, you end up in the wrong place, or you don't go anywhere, or you go a long time to get there. So the map, the information, the navigation data is really what makes it GPS. And we are the business map, because we analyze processes, we know how they work, we know how things are working in the company. We feed the business map to AI, and now AI becomes so much smarter and can do stuff that cannot do before and be effective. So that's, now that we have it and we can prove it with customer examples, this year we're gonna go big on AI.
Right.
So in one sentence, if I avoid the temptation to go with the me too AI if you don't know exactly why AI is relevant to what you do. When you know why it is relevant and is relevant for the customer, then go big on AI. Otherwise, you're gonna be AI washing. It's very good.
Yeah, great. Thank you very much. I know you have a homework for everyone. They're gonna reiterate the framework and give them the homework to do it. But just quickly before that, after the event, you're gonna get an email to share the feedback with us. We're careful to know, how did you like the event? Did you get what you wanted to get from it? And how can we make the next one better? And there is a prize. I think it's a surprise. Myself, I don't know. Like Zuzi is the one preparing the prize, so gonna choose someone. If you answer the feedback, you might win an awesome prize from Meg. Now let's close this, just reiterating the framework and giving them the homework to go and do it.
Yeah, actually, the first time I encountered the framework, I did the same. I thought, okay, great. So now I go back to my company. What's our vision? What obstacles are standing in the way? What is the unique, different solution we are providing? And do I have proof points for that? So I invite you to start from the beginning, define the vision, and then next problem. And after that, stop for a second, make sure you really can deliver on that vision. You really want to solve that problem, and then start working on the solution. So that's your homework. What is the vision and the problem you're trying to solve? If you don't know that, don't bother.
Thank you very much, Elie. That was very insightful.
Thank you, lady. You're an amazing host. Thank you. Thank you all.
Thank you, everyone.